Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean Stacking the Money Green. Give me a follow on Twitter at Sean T. Green. And as always, Daily Juice being brought to you by BetMGM. Use the promo code JUICE. Get the risk-free bet up to $1,000. All right, guys. Oh, man. This is going to be, it's a bummer. If you guys saw in the title, this is my last show for Betting Pros and Daily Juice. Obviously, the show's going to continue on, Daily Juice will go on. Tomorrow when you wake up, there will be another podcast there. Don't worry. Unfortunately, I won't be hosting it. And I know you're probably wondering, hey, why? What's going on? Is it because you talk too much about Lehigh football? Did they finally put in some sort of restrictions about homerism on the network and ultimately you violated that? No, I mean, it's really tough because I really enjoyed this ride with you guys. And it's weird because, again, I'm recording this show alone in a box in a studio. I'm in the closet of our studio here at SGPN. And even though it is just me talking into the world, yelling into the microphone, kind of like a crazy person, I felt a connection with you guys, the audience, the Discord the entire time. And I kind of hate to be stepping away here, but basically, beginning of the year, I kind of realized I had too much stuff going on. I had too much work ultimately going on with Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And it's, again, I almost feel like an idiot complaining about it because really there's nothing to complain about. Like, started the Sports Gambling Podcast in 2011, started the company for real with my partner, Ryan Real Money Kramer in 2017. And, just to kind of give you guys a frame of reference, 2021, we did about like 3.3 million downloads. And then, last year it jumped up to 8 million downloads. And it's really awesome. And I'm realizing this as the new year turns, and I'm kind of overwhelmed work-wise. I mean, honestly, doing the shows are great and it's super fun. And to even call it work sounds insane because I have actually had real jobs over the years. I worked at Quiznos. I worked at a dishwasher. I used to deliver equipment for a construction company. I almost lost my foot in a Bobcat accident. I've had real jobs. So when, you might think like, oh, this is 10 minutes a day. This guy calls this work. I have a real job. No, I totally get what a real job is, and totally just super fortunate that the company's doing so well that, I realized I was kind of dividing my time too much and just ultimately kind of working too much and putting in, I don't know, honestly too, it came down to like, hey, I need to put more time into SGPN because, again, like the company's really grown, and not only it's me hosting, the flagship show with my partner and co-host, but also just like running the business aspect of it. I never ran a small business before. Even now I'm recording this at like 11 o'clock at night. I got 30 invoices I got to get to. And, even that number, 30 invoices, when I was going over the final stuff for the year, I'm sending out all these 1099s and I'm realizing like, and again, what an awesome team and company I've been fortunate to be a part of and build with my partner, and really like a really cool community that we were able to put together. And you see it now in the marketplace. There's so many companies and shows that are going, hey, we could just start a sports gambling thing. It'll be fun. We'll make tons of money. And it's really hard to carve out an audience and connect with people and connect with the fellow DGens, and been fortunate enough to do that. And, I realize I ultimately it just came down to, I don't want to half-ass this show, the Daily Juice, because I have a ton of respect for you guys, the audience. And, I have a ton of respect for the people over at Betting Pros. And I realized I wasn't going to be able to do this show at 100% and still do all the business stuff that I'm obligated to do now with SGPN. And again, it's a great problem to have, and, super fortunate. Like next week on Tuesday, flying out to Arizona to get to do shows on Radio Row. We're doing a live show with Chris Long, Julian Edelman, my team's in the Super Bowl. Like, I really couldn't ask for anything more, but also I just have to be real of like doing all that stuff and then still carving out time to do the Daily Juice just became impossible. And, you guys deserves someone that has the time and to do it right. And ultimately, I didn't want to half-ass it. Like I said, because I respect you guys, and I get it. Just to hang along with the show and be a part of it, and I really appreciate it. And don't worry, I will close out with some picks here, but I just kind of wanted to explain where I was coming from. That, yeah, ultimately it was just kind of too much, and I didn't have the time to put towards the show. That you really need to do a good show. And again, it's like kind of a one-man band operation where I'm writing, researching, recording, producing, editing the whole show on top of all of my obligations with the Sports Gambling Podcast and and running a network. Again, I'm still trying to figure out a ton of this business stuff, because I always consider myself a comedian, a podcaster, guy who just likes to put in sweet parlays. And then what am I doing running a sports gambling media company with my partner? It was just I just need more time, and unfortunately this was the thing that I couldn't really commit to fully. And that's what around the new year I reached out to Matt Friedman over at Betting Pros, who was awesome enough to give me this opportunity and kind of explain the situation for him. And he said, hey man, yeah, it sucks. I understand where you're coming from. We appreciate the time and, everything you put in, and, hey, let's try and figure this out. Again, I didn't want to do some sort of long goodbye where it's I'm Coach K showing up at these games, waving to everyone. Some long drawn out thing. And again, you'll wake up tomorrow. The next show will be there, and you guys will pick up where you left off, because the format's great. And again, obviously, you know where to find me. Sports Gambling Podcast, Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Like I said, we're doing a bunch of shows out in Arizona for the Super Bowl. If you're going out there, hit me up. We're doing a live show at the Ainsworth on Thursday. So much shows. And and definitely we're looking into getting a daily show, a quick show like this going. Maybe a show where I don't have to host it every day. We can work in other people in the network, so I might be able to get a day off. But before we get to kind of like the final tally, my picks, I do want to just say big thanks to Betting Pros. Matt Friedman and all the other guys working behind the scenes, Blaine, Jimmy, Chris, Andrew, awesome working with you guys. And again, my take on Betting Pros as a company and as someone to work with has only grown from my time working there. I always thought like, hey, those are super sharp dudes who know what they're doing and put out a ton of good stuff. And that's going to continue. They have a great company, great thing going on there. And as far as the final tally, 218 shows in the books. Didn't miss a day. Had a brief delay on the Hamlin thing. Final unit tally. Well, we'll see what happens with Oregon, but we'll say right now up 22 units. We do have Doug P, Coach of the Year, hanging in the balance at plus 1,800. Again, in the nature of letting it ride. Give me 20 units on the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 57. Put it on the money line. BetMGM minus 120. Again, I think you're probably going, Sean, you're just such a homer. That's why you're going against Patrick Mahomes as a dog. What are you doing? The way I handicap stuff, well, again, I'm always going to pick the Eagles. But that aside, you got to look at the line play, right? Like the Philadelphia Eagles, just go back and watch the Eagles offensive line against that San Francisco 49ers defense, the defense that was supposed to be number one in rush defense. Warner, one of the great all-time linebackers, looks completely lost from some of the RPO stuff they're doing. Kansas City's pass defense, 20th DVOA. I just think they're really going to be able to move the ball on the Kansas City Chiefs defense and the Eagles defensive line. No one's talking about it. Like, they're nipping at the heels of the 1985 Chicago Bears within the amount of sacks they're having. And if you remember the 1985 Chicago Bears, they had a very quote-unquote easy path to the Super Bowl as well, back-to-back shutouts. Now, the Eagles didn't quite do that. They had back-to-back games where they only let up 7 points. People go, oh, well, yeah, you Brock Purdy and you knocked him out of the game. And that's because they couldn't block us. The 49ers, which have a pretty good offensive line, could not block the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, I do say us when referring to the Philadelphia Eagles. Poured my heart and soul into that team. Of course I'm going to drop us. And the Kansas City Chiefs allowing 6 yards per carry. That is the highest in the modern Super Bowl era for someone in the playoffs that still got to the Super Bowl. So I think the Eagles team is going to be able to move the ball on the Kansas City Chiefs, put up some points, and then you've seen this Eagles team when they get up with the lead. Jalen Hurts in that offense, they're like a boa constrictor. They just strangle you. And if you want to see what Patrick Mahomes looks like without a great offensive line against a good defensive line in a Super Bowl, fire up that game against the Tampa Bay Bucs. That is my prediction. 20 units. Because then even if I lose, which I don't think is going to happen, obviously, I'm still a positive bettor. And, yeah, so again, that's my take on the Super Bowl. Man, hopefully I said thanks to everyone. Obviously, thanks to the Discord. There's so many. It really was an awesome experience getting to know so many of you. My DMs on Discord are always open. My DMs on Twitter are always open. Again, anything you guys want to talk about, from betting on sports, podcasting, TV writing, comedy, life in general, whatever it is, hit me up. And because I've met a ton of awesome people through this, and hopefully you guys continue to check out my stuff, because I think if you enjoyed me on this show, you'll enjoy me on other shows, because it's the same thing. It's just me talking smack, making picks, having a lot of fun. And honestly, that's hopefully, if you take away anything from my time here on the show, is that gambling should be fun. Like, I know everyone's trying to turn this into like a corporate grind where you gotta get 2% EV. Like, again, if you want that, that's what a 401k is for. We're here. I'm here to have fun. I love hitting big parlays. I love having fun. I mean, the DGens only bet. That's what I live for. Sweating it out. That rush, that feeling of excitement, and it should be fun. If it's not fun anymore, it means, one, you're getting your ass kicked, or you're betting money maybe you shouldn't be betting. Then take a break, have fun, just watch the games. But ultimately, gambling should be fun, and somehow it gets lost in all the stuff that's going on in the content gambling world of like, hey, we got to do everything we can to squeeze every dime out of every customer. It's like, no, we should have fun. Some people say don't bet parlays. Those people are anti-fun. Hey, you should be laying a couple parlays. It's a Super Bowl. Like, come on, have some fun. Are Super Bowl squares a plus EV value? No, but is it fun? Hell yeah, it's the Super Bowl. And yeah, I mean, again, my big thing is like, don't do 12 legs. Find that first touchdown and maybe parlay it with the money line. A little correlated stuff, aka Austin Hooper to have 2 touchdowns. Parlay it with the Titans money line, because if you score 2 touchdowns, they're also probably winning the game. So, stuff like that. So again, continue out to have fun, bet on sports, continue to support the Daily Juice and Betting Pros, because they do a ton of awesome stuff. And again, it's really, I want to say thank you to you guys. It's been an honor and a privilege sharing this time with you guys. 218 shows in the books. Never missed a show. Missed a couple bets, not going to lie, obviously. But hey, that's gambling. It's supposed to be fun. So I'm going to sit here, fire up the cigar, have a beer. I was worried if I didn't get that cigar right on the first take, I'd have to edit it, and that would be a complete disaster. Because like I said, I got 30 invoices I got to crank out. Again, guys, it's been a hell of a ride. I hope you had as much fun as I did. And you know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.